everybody. Welcome to Activating the Truth in Doses. I'm LeVar Green.
I'm Jill Jackson, and we're speaking truth and sparking transformation.
Yeah. So this podcast, y'all, we are here, and the hopes is to inspire you. The hopes is to give you really direction in life, keeping it positive, talking about the things that I think a lot of people have in their minds all the time.
Right.
So we don't call our episodes. What do we call them?
We call them doses.
Right. Why we do that?
It's a play on medication, and so you get a dose of medication. When you come to see us, you're going to get a dose of truth. We're going to serve you up a little bit of dose of truth. And you came up with a word last time. You were saying we're going to give you the right medication. We're going to tricate.
Right.
The right. Is that the right word?
Yeah, it was tricate. You did say tricate. It was something about making sure the proper dosage and stuff so you won't over-medicate somebody.
Yeah,
right?
You got to do it in stages. So, like, you bring the medication up, you bring it down. You got to figure out what works for each person because we're all built different.
Right. You try not to overdose you. So, even in these episodes, the timing and everything, our prayers that it will be perfect. And I say prayer for a reason because, y'all, everything we feel like is created by God and done for God. So, even through this, you're going to hear a God tone for it, because we're even here and existing and even getting to the levels that we are in life because of Him. Whether people acknowledge or not, He either lets people be successful or He doesn't, So for us and for what we're going to hopefully strive to teach you all and show you all and share, that there is a lane that God has already blessed for you. The goal is to figure what that lane is.
Absolutely. Sometimes you don't figure that out right away, and sometimes you got some detours and some deviations. I know that's my story, and that's what this episode is about. We just want to give you an opportunity to learn who we are and how we got here.
So you said it. So let's talk about your story. So why podcast for you, and how did you even get to this stage in your life?
So podcast for me, I've done therapy one-on-one, and while I love that, and I think that there's a space for that, and there's an energy that's in the room when you're with one person and really focusing your attention, but it is truly just one person at a time. So I felt like this was a way and an opportunity to be able to speak some truth and to have some dialogue, to bring out some things that I found to be, essentially true in my life to help me become who I am in a quicker way to get it to more people. And so how I got here, I told you it was a windy road. So I didn't start here. I got 3 different degrees in 3 different things. My family, my sister, for one, calls me a professional student, but it's because all the things that I think I got degrees in, communication, fashion merchandising, purchasing, and in social work, are all facets of me. And so while I believe each of them well, it's just, this is a passion project for me. This is purpose for me. Right. It's deeper than just a paycheck and how I'm able to support, our household and my family or whatever. It's about being able to offer people what I needed, which was the love of God, His truth about me, and how I see myself.
Right. 3 degrees.
3 degrees, child.
What else
I'm done.
She says she's done.
I'm done. So that last degree, I got my master's in social work, and I just recently, thank God, received my LCSW. I'm gonna tell you what that means.
Right, because I'm gonna say what is.
Right,
let me get the acronym one more time. L what?
LCSW.
Okay.
And it's a licensed clinical social worker. And listen, blood, sweat, and tears, y'all. I started school in 2014. And I had to do 3 years master program, and then you're doing internships during the schooling. So each year you got to do 3,000-4,000 hours of like volunteer work. Ain't nobody paying you.
3,000 or 4,000
1,000 hours or whatever. So it's like you are. No, I'm lying. It was 300 or 400.
Oh,
I was like, wait, hold on. I was hold on.
That's still a lot.
Enough, yeah. So
and no pay, not paid.
Unpaid. You volunteering your time. And so, but then you get the degree, and here for social workers in Georgia, you have to take the first test to become a licensed master social worker. But you're not done then. You still got to do another, this is where I get the 3,000 hours, 120 hours of supervision, and it can't take you less than 3 years. So when I tell you from 2014, I've been working towards this accomplishment.
Right.
And I am so grateful to finally be here.
Now this is after your 3 degrees in college.
Yes.
So when did you start college? What year you came out of high school?
So I came out in 1998.
We're gonna date ourselves.
1998. Yes, I know I don't look like it. Thank
there we
you.
go. Hold it together. Right.
So, and I went to Florida State, graduated in 2022.
Can you tell Florida State because of the haircut?
Listen, I was going to law school. My first degree was in communication studies and political science. I was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
Until I took a class and it was boring. I was
Right.
like, is this what law is?
Right.
Oh no, we're not going to make
of
it.
that.
But I was too far into the degree to
Right.
turn around. So I was like, we're just going to have to figure it out. So I finished the degree. I was in my third year, finished my degree. And then I decided to go back for fashion merchandising.
Okay.
Child, I was supposed to be buying for like Macy's or something like that.
Mhm.
The lawyer had a different plan. He's like,
Okay.
I'm gonna put you in public purchasing.
Okay.
Which means I purchase stuff for like government agencies and stuff of that nature.
Mhm.
Definitely what I wasn't thinking
Right.
when he said go back to school for fashion
Now,
merchandising.
what year was that when you went back?
That
to
was in 2003.
Okay.
And so I finished in 2005.
Okay.
And then I moved here to Georgia in 2010
Right.
after starting working in government purchasing and been here ever since. Met my lovely husband, Andre. I'm sure y'all will see him on a podcast
Mhm.
coming soon near you. And then I've just been working towards the goal. But it's interesting enough, and here's a little piece of truth. I was actually counseling a coworker, and she's the one who planted the seed of me being a counselor. Like,
Really?
I was an unmarried woman counseling a married woman about her marriage
Wow.
and talking to her about that. And I don't say that to be boastful. I'm just saying I do believe, and it goes back to what you said in the beginning, God hardwires us sometimes for certain things. And so what was flowing out of me was just how he built me.
Right.
And so it came naturally, it came easy, and it sparked. I didn't start immediately, but it wouldn't go away. It was just like this nagging thing, like there's something more. I need you to really pay attention to what that person said. And that person is no longer in my life.
Right.
But sometimes people
That's how
come
it is.
in for a season or a reason, and
Right.
her season has ended, but she left me with something that I still hold to
We're
this day.
grateful. That's how God works.
So that's how I got here.
Right.
So
So how many years of schooling? What's the
oh,
the
Lord.
span?
So we got
98
4
to what?
undergrad,
Mhm.
2, that's 6,
Mhm,
and then 3
mhm.
more. That's 9 years.
Okay. And you got 3 degrees from it.
And I got 3.
And you're a licensed clinical
social worker.
There we
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Ask me.
Okay. You ready?
No,
Okay. How'd you get here, LeVar?
ask me the other question first. Talk about school. Let me do that one first so we get that.
What about school? How many degrees you got?
1. Ask me how many years it took.
How many?
11. Listen, so I wasn't focused like her. So I wanted to get out the way because I'm over here laughing like she got 3 degrees in less than the time it took me to get 1. Now I'm gonna take my glasses off and laughing and tears coming down because it's so funny. I changed my degree path so many times to avoid math. I'm telling y'all, it was terrible.
You were running from math?
Oh, that and then so I went to college first. I went to Youngstown State University in 1998 playing football, and I say that because my degree was playing football.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried about the academics.
Yeah.
Stay in school. So I'm there, and I had my degree path, and I think it was business administration to start, which now I'm back and trying to do business, which is funny. But I had a communications class, and they're like, hey, the year-end project is, you're doing a public speaking segment, you stand in front of class.
Yeah.
I withdrew hours later. I said, I don't talk in
Not
front of
you.
people. Listen, I talk forever now. Y'all would never guess.
Listen, this is Mr. Talk a Lot or whatever. I can't believe you withdrew from a communications class.
I couldn't read a book in front of other people, how nervous I used to get because of people around me.
Okay. So inquiring minds need to know, how do you go from I'm withdrawing from this class, I don't want to be in front of nobody, to now you're on a podcast.
Right.
And
I don't get
a
nervous
majority
talking
of what you love to do is talk to other people.
all day long. And that's the dynamics, and I think that everybody will see through this podcast is how everything you go through, God was meant to grow you through it.
Yeah.
Even if you run from it, trust me, you are going to double back. If it's something that he says is part of his universal will for your life, there is no escaping it.
Nope.
So I withdrew, and like I said, I was nervous. I can't do that. So I withdrew. Now listen, on the field, I was starting to talk a lot. I talked so much. I couldn't stop. That was my element, right? That was my comfort zone. But outside of that, motivating people in the field, team captain here and there, winning most inspirational player awards and stuff. A lot of my college buddies, they'll see this in high school. They know that was VAR, right?
Yeah.
But outside of that, if I wasn't around family and friends, I'm not talking. So it took me 11
I'm
years.
flabbergasted. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we know each other pretty well. We've been friends for a while.
I don't think you knew that though, huh?
I did not know that. Like, That is crazy because, okay, I actually love to do public speaking.
Really?
Like, even though I get nervous, I love it. So to hear that and to hear that aspect from you, it's just completely flooring.
High school, like, who wants to read? Not me. Don't ask me to read nothing in front of nobody.
Okay, so how did you overcome it?
So that's interesting. So I ended up getting into law enforcement. So football didn't work out far as the long term. I wanted to go to the league like most guys playing ball. I'm going to the league. Well, I guess I was a little height challenged. I didn't realize my height mattered.
You were a little height challenged?
A little bit, just a little bit. We're not going to discuss my height because I'm sitting down. I'm not trying to play football no more, so I was height challenged. Because what I want to do now, there's no height requirement, so it doesn't matter. True. So anyway, we're going to skip past that. So finished school. Well, not yet. I left school. To be honest. Y'all I had 3 classes left to go. 3 classes, 1 semester. And this was going into spring of 2000. And I had a chance, 2001, I did it good enough in college to where I felt like I can have a chance to leave. So I put myself in the draft and everything else, and it didn't work out. But I left school because I'm going to work out, I'm going to be ready for the draft, yada, yada, yada. And it just didn't work out. We'll say that for a whole nother time. Yeah. But ended up having to get a job now. And I remember my pops, because I worked out for a few years. After that, got closer and closer, did some arena ball. And he was like, hey, LeVar, I support your dream. And everybody know who Daddy Green. They know how this conversation went. But you're going to get a job in this house. And I said, yes, sir. Went in and started working at Circuit City. I hate Circuit City.
Circuit City it's not around anymore for you youngins.
Y'all know what Circuit City is? Drop in the comments if you know what Circuit City is, because then we know at least some of y'all are age.
And it didn't used to be Best Buy.
Right, that part. Yeah, so I used to put up CDs and all this foolishness. I hated every job I ever had. Just throw that out there for future conversation.
That'll come out in the podcast.
Circuit City. Now this is funny because the job that I got, that I met my wife at, I wasn't even supposed to get. So one of my godbrother, he was staying in our house in Miami at the time, and TSA, it's the screening people at the airport. Most of y'all don't like that because you're late for a flight. They have to check
your
bag.
Shoes off, your belt, your hair, your wig,
everything.
Put your teeth
only
in
the left shoe. You don't got to do the right shoe. We taking off left shoes right now. So they called him like, hey, call and speak to my godbrother, and I was like, okay. And they said, this is TSA. We calling off from a job. I'm like, you ain't calling him for a job. That's exactly what I said. This person on the phone. This is 22-year-old Mr. I was arrogant, LeVar. I'm like, nah, you calling LeVar Green for this job?
Not the third person.
I did. I said, you calling for LeVar Green?
Yeah.
I said, check your books. I'm pretty sure you calling wrong because you're not gonna hire this person for a job. And that was so wrong. He got an interview.
Did you even interview for the job?
Well, I had applied for it.
Oh.
So they were like, oh, well, you know what? Here's the date. You can actually come too. I ended up getting the job. Unfortunately, he didn't. But I ended up getting the job.
He
had his opportunity. No. Listen, he went to the same interviews and did his own thing too. Oh. That's on his end.
That was for the interview. Okay.
But I was like, surely you calling for LeVar Green because Daddy Green already told me you need to get a job. But I needed something more sound than that. So long story short, I met my wife there down in Miami through the job and everything. So the question is, I'm getting to it, y'all. Long-winded, right? How did I get to the point where I can speak? Yeah. So I hated the job at the airport too. Made some beautiful relationships. And I had this one moment in my life, the most disrespectful thing that happened to me ever in my life. This person was running late for a flight. This white guy came to the line, nice, well dressed. Hurry up, I gotta go. I'm like, well, they told me I gotta check your bag. You don't gotta do that. In my face. He spit in my face, y'all. And it connected. And I'm 22 at this time.
Oh,
probably 23.
Lord.
And I was a hothead, as you can see. I stayed mad. I was mad then. And I didn't do nothing. But in my head, I was losing it. And I remember my manager, Daryl. Shout out Daryl. He hooked me and my wife up, a lot of people had a hand in hooking us up. But he came and grabbed me. Hey, LeVar, let me take you to the side. Y'all hold him. Took me to the side, sat me down. They called the police. Police showed up. Look who want to be in the camera. This Jackson, we're going to get it out the way now. They got what kind of dog is he?
He's a Cocker Spaniel.
And he likes to be the center of attention, and he has human eyes, and he's trying to get his eyes in the camera, not realizing we shooting because we're trying to keep this. But it's live, and guess what? We're going to go post this. He over here by me now. And they just got my mind sidetracked. It's all good, though. Look at it. Thank you, Jackson. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
We're going to give you your screen time later. But, so they went, police showed up, arrested him. I took a statement, they took him to jail. So I sat there and watched that. I'm like,
That's crazy though. So you running late. He running late for a flight. That's a message.
Yeah.
You're running late for a flight. You lose your cool, and now not only do you miss your life, your flight, but your freedom is taken away.
Yeah, right. So in other words, moral of the story I got: don't spit in people's faces and be on time.
That's nasty.
But I end up seeing what they did, and I was like, no degree yet. Mind you, I left school with 3 classes left. And I was actually attending FIU at the time, so I'm going to school part-time, working full-time. And I don't know what my degree path was at this moment. I probably undecided, psychology, sociology. I switched quite a few times. Ended up with psychology and criminal justice. But I saw them take them away, and I was like, I can do that. And it was that simple. And I watched Bad Boys 1 and 2 way too many times. But I literally looked at it, and I felt like I want to do something more meaningful. I always wanted to help folk. I said, I could probably do that. And so a year or so later, I got into law enforcement. Now, still LeVar. I'm not speaking in front of people. I talk to those who I know. But in law enforcement, for anybody who knows, you're forced to talk to strangers all day long.
Yeah.
And you have to be confident about what you say. A good officer will be very respectful, very professional. Come in the house, even if he or she has to gain control of the environment. But it's the way that you do it with the command in your voice and your presence and your stature. And here again, I'm not a tall stature person, but the way you speak. And I feel like God let me get into law enforcement to perfect my speaking. Because through that, there were times I had to control crowds of folk.
Yeah.
And I had to project my voice, and I had to speak so clear and do all these different things. And it was through that training ground that I would have never picked for myself. I grew up not wanting to deal with police. Miami, Florida. We don't want to deal with no police, right? And then he got me into this career that forced me to speak every day. So I was practicing every day. Dose of truth. You should be practicing on the thing that you say you want most in life every day, because you can perfect that thing. Even if you only spend 10 to 15 minutes every day doing this thing, within a year, you would have surpassed everyone else who says they want to do what you do.
Yeah.
Why? Because now you're becoming a master of it. And that's part of the scripture when God says, let them have dominion on earth for us humans. He wanted you and still wants you to master the area of gifting, natural and spiritual, that he sent you here on earth to do.
Correct.
We are products of him, of the King, of the Creator. And he put so many amazing things in us that we go through life and we don't master them. We do so many different things, and we make so many different decisions because we're distracted and off task, because we don't understand what we're here to do, our assignment and purpose.
Yeah.
And I feel like through this podcast, through what we are going to be sharing, y'all, the goal is this, is to get you so focused on your task that you were sent here to do, your life's purpose, your life's value. Because one thing I love to battle, and I feel like understanding your purpose and value in God will help with that, is when people remove themselves from the earth by their own hands because they don't feel like they have anything to do here.
Right.
And I'm not saying the words because I don't know how YouTube's going to look when we say certain words. But to counter that is to introduce somebody to their worth.
Right. And here, when you say worth, the instant thing that comes to mind to me is that we all have worth. Like, we're all valuable. We all have a purpose. Like, if you think maybe I'm here and there's no reason, if you've been thinking about what LeVar just kind of shared, like, there is a reason. And if you give it enough time and you allow the moment to pass, life is worth living. Sometimes we don't take straight paths to where we got to go, and things get dark. Because, listen, just because we sit here laughing and kikiing now, it doesn't mean that we haven't been through some dark moments and had some real challenges. Like, I'm sure a lot of that will come out during the podcast as well. But just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Don't give up. You're so worth it. The world needs you, and it needs what you carry. Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about what the podcast name came from.
Okay, so we start with activating. So talk about your...
All right. So we got 2 companies, Activate You, where we encourage you to get active, stay active, live active. So we can get your mind going in that direction. I feel like mind, body, and spirit, mind, body, and soul. We can really get you going in the direction that God has for you. Yeah. So we attack the mind first. So the get active pieces, just get doing something. The stay active, stay consistent. And eventually it becomes a lifestyle, which is the live portion of it. You see me with the I Stay Mad shirt on, that's I Stay Mad hoodie. That's my nickname, Mr. I Stay Mad. That's the other portion of the company, staying motivated and determined. Make a decision to make a difference and stay motivated and determined the whole process. Yeah. So the activating part of the name comes from, our parent company, I would say, with our mission and message behind it with the Stay Mad thing. So let's move on down closer to your part.
Okay.
The doses, the truth and doses.
The other part of that is truth and doses. And so God literally gave me that name because I was trying to think of, like, if I were to start a counseling business or a business, what would I want it to stand for? And that's what dropped in my spirit, truth and doses. Because I think it's not just, and you'll see that it's the target of, like, having a dose of truth.
All right, y'all, we just gonna be authentic. Jackson is over here attacking my daughter, trying to give her some attention. And Dre, the husband of Jill, he go to crap him. Jackson has these human eyes, y'all. He is over there going after my daughter, and she's trying to be quiet and move.
So you probably heard some of that ruckus in the background. Hey, this is life, unscripted.
Yep. We don't have a studio yet, so we're here.
That's okay.
So God gave you the name for truth and doses.
Back to what I was trying to say, truth and doses. And so I think that the truth part of it, so that's kind of the center of it, and it truly is the center, is the truth. We didn't say a truth, it's the truth. Right. Because we're basing that on the word of God and what God says about us and to us in his word. And I actually ran across something our pastor was preaching, and it was so interesting because he said something that really stuck with me. He was like, in some ways, they've turned the Bible into a textbook, but God is bigger than the book. And so that's why it's so important to have a relationship with him, because he's ministering to you at all times. Like, just because it's not in the word, his spirit, if you're born again, lives inside of you, and he's ministering truth to you at all times. Right. And so the truth in doses is just that. Each session, each moment is an opportunity to share some truth in a dose, and to help you to find out how to apply that truth to your life to become your best self. Right. Because sometimes I think, and here's the thing, like in the age of social media, there's a lot of false out here. People living lives, portraying lives, making it seem like they got things that they don't, and people are aspiring to be like these people, and they don't really know what's going on. Right. And so we're living in this where truth is not necessarily celebrated or brought to the forefront. Right. And so that's what we kind of took both businesses and put them together. Right. Yeah.
And the truth of it all is this, y'all. None of us made ourselves show up here. You can disagree all you want. No person watching this podcast on this planet willed themselves to earth. Nope. And all of us have the capacity for greatness. All of us have something that we're good at, something that we're interested in. Right? And you have some people who try to isolate themselves and say, there's nothing that interests me. No, there's nobody who has helped you see what interests you yet. Yeah. Right? All of us have a capacity to do something amazing on this planet. And we all were sent here for a purpose. Every blade of grass, every snowflake, even as fast as that melts, it has purpose for what it accomplishes. And if a snowflake and if a blade of grass, even how the Bible says here today, going tomorrow, it withers, right? We are created in the image of the Most High God, the creator of life and existence. Yeah. We have to have purpose. We have to have, something that's in us that we're supposed to be accomplishing and doing. And we have to spend time doing that. Yeah. Nobody is just great at the beginning. When you look at some of these big billion or $1 trillion companies, Amazon and all, they started in a garage selling books. Now look at it. Right. You can't turn a corner without seeing an Amazon truck.
Listen.
And it doesn't matter the age. KFC. He was 65 when he started his business, started really making money. Like, y'all, there was no reason for you not to start. Yeah. But the biggest person who will deter you from starting, I'm going to tell you who it is. Go look in the mirror. Right. Because that person is the only person that can convince you not to be activated in life.
Yeah. Sometimes it's fear, though. Sometimes it's fear. It's sometimes a lack of belief in yourself that you really do have what it takes. Sometimes it's, I don't know if it's going to work out. But here's the thing, and this is what you were just saying, nobody has had a perfect journey to success.
Right.
Like there's always going to be some failure. There's going to be some trial and error. That's just part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I like to say. Like if you learn something from the experience and you grow from it, it really wasn't a failure in the first place.
Right.
Because you now understand something more about you, about the situation, about the business, to be able to take that next step and try again. Okay, so what can I learn from this to apply next time to get closer to success? And we've talked about this in some of our trial runs. I want to make sure I bring it into the room. This is about the journey and not the destination. Because a lot of people live life of like, well, once I get here, once I achieve this goal, I will have arrived. Listen, I just got my LCSW and there's still things in my life that I feel like I wish they were different, or there's something else to strive for. So it's not about waiting to arrive at a moment or an accomplishment or an achievement. It's about living life every day and finding purpose in every day. There's a purpose. There's something that you are called to do each and every day. And sometimes we look at purpose as this big thing, like I'm supposed to be standing on the stage speaking to people. But purpose may be talking to the person next to you because they, feel like they don't have nothing to live for. And that word of encouragement or that smile that you give them is enough to keep them going. We can find purpose in every day. The question is, are we looking for it?
Right. And departures and arrivals are moments. Like you mentioned, the journey takes longer.
Yeah.
When you think about going to the airport, you're departing. You're about to leave something that you were doing or your present circumstance to go somewhere else. Arrival is just an arrival. It's a moment. So when we think about moments versus something that's more lasting than that is the journey process and the journey part. Y'all, the process is so important. And I was Mr. Impatient for a long time. And I feel like God continued to allow me to retest, to almost stay in a loop of life for a while until I started getting it. And I'm not saying I got it. Like I'm at this level of I got everything together. Absolutely not. But being able to come in here and speak and to share in the hopes of inspiring with actionable steps, y'all. We're not just gonna get here and talk. There are things you can do right now that we can tell you all from life experience, from the studies and everything else that have been done, and then just what God has been showing us. And even in the Bible, y'all, it's not a religious book. Like you can literally go in there and look at action items to do. Like there's a book in the passage of Psalms where it tells you who's a blessed person. One who doesn't walk in the way of the wicked, and certain things. It like just lays these things out. Walk in the counsel of the godly. Like it says, do this, and then this can happen in so many different circumstances. And in life, you got all these books out there that can lead you to what the world sees as success. But I would challenge anybody's thought process of what success is as we base it off like a product. A product is successful when it does what it was invented to do. And I truly believe success is when you as a human being and I do what God created us to do.
Yeah.
In the way he made us to do it, then you're successful. Now you may have some other successes on the side, but we'll never really experience true success if we don't do what God made us to do.
Yeah, and I think so. To kind of bring a full circle moment, and I think it's something that I'd like to leave with the people today, and that is pay attention to what people naturally come to you. Like, who are you in your friend circle? Who are you in your family? Like, what is your role that you play? What comes naturally to you that you don't even have to think about? Like, it just automatically comes out of you. Like, what are the things that you keep hearing people say about you or whatever? And sometimes it's because we're not paying attention. People been saying it, but we're not really paying any attention. Like, we just kind of hear it and don't hear it. But really think about, like, what do I feel like I'm doing, and what do I do that makes me feel most alive? Here's the thing. When I'm in the room with a client and, like, there's an aha moment, and that's the thing about, I tell people, being a therapist is like this thing, because it's like, it's such a professional thing, and it's guided by such ethical principles and professional boundaries, and it's a professional relationship, but it is profoundly sacred to hold space for people and go into the deepest crevices of their hurt, their pain, their sorrow, and to sit with them in the ashes and bring them through something and help to facilitate a way for them to come out of some of these things that have come into their life and been hard moments for them. And so, but I feel most alive when I'm in the room with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it charges me when I can speak life into someone else and tell them, like, you're not your circumstance.
Right.
You're not a failure. You're not a waste. You have purpose. And so find that thing that you do naturally. Like, I have a cousin. He's a natural chef or whatever. Like, cooking just comes naturally to him or whatever. And so what is that thing that you have? And I think we heard a sermon one time, what's in your hand or whatever. What do you have that God has placed inside of you that the world needs?
Right.
And chances are you're probably already doing it in a lot of ways, or you're already drawn to it. It's just with the pace of the world, we got to learn how to slow down enough to be able to recognize when, things are pushing us in a certain direction.
Right. As we kind of even get close to closing this out, 2 things to add to that. And here's your action item. Do an inventory of your skills, gifts, and abilities. Everything that you think you do, like you do well at this. I'm good at this, this, and this. Write all that down. But then start looking at how you see the world. All right?
That's a good point.
So I want to bring it up. Well, how do you do that? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to bring my wife up, for example. When we go into restaurants and stuff, what does she always start seeing and saying?
Like the atmosphere and the environment.
And the decor. She can't, it stands out. Oh, they should have did this. They should have did. And her skill, her ability, y'all, this woman is amazing. Because when we start adjusting our sets, it's going to be all her, trust me. And then so and what's funny is, my brother, her husband.
Well, this hasn't come up yet.
Right.
We haven't talked about how we're so much alike. Like,
right. We're going to talk about that. That's funny.
That's coming.
Yeah. But same thing. He sees structures and he sees things, and like some of the smallest things better place.
Details.
He'll point out like, why is that like that? Because
Right.
that's how he's made. So for me, I can't help but to watch somebody speaking, and if they're bombing, and like, oh man, somebody throw them a bone and help them out. So the thing is, how do you see the world? Like, what lens do you see? What stands out to you all the time? Because typically that's part of the gifting that you have,
right,
that you should be working in. So we appreciate y'all joining us today here on Activating the Truth in Doses, right? It's amazing. We just want you to keep with us through this whole journey. It's going to be not necessarily live, but when we play it back, we playing it back. Like, you hear the dog shaking right now, you're going to hear some
and
of those noises.
they might not, because of the way we're doing this
We'll
now.
see.
Who knows?
Y'all let us know. But I want you
Yeah.
to drop in the comments. We do want you to like, share, and subscribe. But I want you to drop in the comments. How do you see the world? What are you seeing? What stands out the most to you? Heck, what makes you mad? Because you might be the one supposed to solve that problem. And that's what this is about, is giving you some steps, some things to do, to where now, as you go through this life, when you break the cement off your feet, you start walking in purpose and on purpose.
Listen, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. We're going to be speaking truth and sparking transformation. Have a good one.